Welcome to Saints on Cinema. I am Tim Wilde, and I am here tonight to do a Wilde review of Into the Spider-Verse. I went and saw it tonight, and I want to give you my impressions, my thoughts, my feedback, and a rating, as well as a final judgment of whether it's a celestial, terrestrial, or telestial film in our eyes. So first of all, just general impressions. I just want to say I felt like this movie seemed like it wanted to be more, not wanted to, it felt to me more like a Marvel version of the Lego Batman movie. I felt like it was catered to the fans of Spider-Man. I think they would appreciate more than other people, which is fine. I think the Batman movie had a lot going for it. Not the Batman movie, but the Lego Batman movie had a lot going for it because it was able to cater to a lot of deep cuts, a lot of things that happen in the Batman lore, a lot of different versions and renditions of Batman over the years, of TV shows and movies and comics and different variations that people are familiar with if you're a fan of Batman. This one kind of did a similar thing where it was trying to, push back and help you remember different versions of Batman, and for people that are fans of movies or fans of Spider-Man, excuse me, that's what I meant with Spider-Man. If you like Spider-Man, then you picked some of that out, but it didn't get as hard into that as the Lego Batman movie did, which is fine. But in the same way, I kind of felt like this movie was trying to figure out its identity, to me. The story was a little convoluted. It seemed like a really simple premise. You have, without giving spoilers away, this is a spoiler-free discussion, should be. But you have Kingpin, and he's over a few Spider-Man villains. Some of them I've never seen before, because I'm not a huge, you can tell by my wall behind me, I'm not this huge Spider-Man fan. But he's got a goal to restore and bring back his family that's died, and in trying to do that, I don't know if that's a time travel thing or what his real agenda is. Didn't seem really clear to me in the movie, and we all know I'm terrible with plot, so I'm not going to say that's a complete fault of the movie. But he's trying to do that, and in doing so, this mechanism that he has is tearing up some kind of a balance that's creating portals between other universes, that's bringing other Spider-Man versions into this universe with Spider-Man. Now, that's fine, but in the same way as trying to do that, it kind of feels like it falls apart at the end a little bit. It kind of loses its momentum. The movie has decent pace. There's plenty of action that happens throughout the movie, but it just kind of feels like it kind of drags. It takes a little while to get it going. It's an origin story, so it does take more time to get it started, but after you kind of get into the main character, Miles, once you kind of get his character rolling, then it introduces the next Spider-Man, which we've seen in the trailers. It's not a big spoiler, but it has the next Spider-Man that they become engaged, and then they start going on this quest. And we know from the trailer then comes Gwen Stacy, Spider-Woman, right? I remember right? Gwen Stacy, for the cool, hot, awesome pink and white and black costume. Anyway, she gets involved, and so now there's the three of them, and then they're going through this quest where the whole goal is just to undo any damage and to get these Spider-Man renditions back to their own universes. Okay, that's fine. But then, like 2/3 in, before the final act, they introduce a few more versions of Spider-Man who came at the same time as the first ones. There are these little tremors that keep happening throughout the movie, which are shaking up the universes and bringing things to or from different dimensions or alternate realities, however you want to look at it, other universes. So when that's going on, it's like, hey, now you have these other characters who are here, all of whom are intriguing. I'm not going to spoil anything. I don't know how much you know about the characters. I didn't know anything going in. But they're fascinating, and they kind of have little quips, a few little lines, one or two scenes that are just kind of showcasing their differences, and they're not just all the same Peter Parker. One's a pig, one's the Asian little girl from an anime version, and the other one's the black and white old. I can't remember their names because I'm not that guy. But anyway, the point is that they're fish out of water, and they take a second to show that they're fish out of water, but they don't really it let you enjoy that too long. You know, it's like they were only brought in just for you to be like, hey, it's a little nod to those different versions to get a little variety, and then it just puts them into the action in the last sequence, and then they go home. They really had no bearing on the story. They weren't consequential to anything going on. They didn't have any real strong moments that made them really tie into the main character Miles, and so it was like kind of pointless. You know, it was kind of like all it did was add more, you know, take more time to introduce them and then have them stick out, or, you know, to go on with the mission and to move on. But they didn't really change or have any bearing on anything that was going on, other than there's just some fun action to write with those characters. Other than a nod to the fans, that's all they did. I just think that was kind of dumb. If you'd introduced them a little bit earlier, then we could have had more fun with, you know, watching them interact and kind of get to know each other. That's kind of a small thing. That's kind of a character writing issue I had with the plot, with the story. But I don't know. I just felt like they were trying to crush too many things in here between the nostalgia, an interesting story, a lot of action sequences with some amazing CGI, and it just kind of felt like the pace was kind of weird. It kind of felt like way too much at the end. The final sequence, the last action moment, or the sequence, the last action sequence was just, it was a lot going on, and it's this big, huge CGI mess of effects, and I don't know, it was kind of a lot to take in. It was very congested with a lot of effects and everything, which was cool, unless, you know, you're prone to seizures from things like that. Have a hard time watching this movie, I'm sure. But it was fun. It was cool to watch what they did with the Spider-Man characters and a lot of the action, but it wasn't like, it didn't feel like it was going anywhere. I didn't really care about the story. I didn't care about, you know, the drive. I didn't feel there was a little bit of character development. It was good, decent arcs around the two main characters, Miles and this version of Peter Parker. Not so much with Gwen Stacy, and nothing with the final characters, and nothing with Kingpin. His motive was that dry. It was just, I need to get my family back because I miss them. Well, it didn't really establish what happened to them or show that he, you know, why, other than they're his family and he cares, but like why he really cared so much that he was worth or willing to do anything to get them back. I know you can just say, you know, he's a father and cares about his family, but like, just him missing them isn't enough. For me to really feel what he's feeling, I need to be shown that he's feeling something. I didn't get that. I really didn't. They tried at the very end, but it was weak. So anyway, so that goes right to the first point. We'll go through my five categories, 2 points per category, but characters for me was kind of soft. I give it a 1.5. I think Miles was really well done. Peter was really fun. Their dynamic together was really fun. You have a has-been Peter, and then you have the Miles who's coming of age and discovering his abilities and his powers and everything. And they're trying to work around getting to know each other and take care of a mission. They have their mission to, you know, to shut down this machine, and there's a few things they need to do before they can just go and do that. And shutting down the machine was way too lazily written. It just felt too convenient. You just do this one little thing, and it's all done, and it undoes all the damage that it was causing to the whole city of multiple universes. And it's just all fixed just from plugging in a port or USB to a port. I don't know if that's a spoiler, whatever, but they're just trying to shut down this machine, and whatever. It was kind of, you know, kind of a simple plot, and it was focused around those characters for a little while, and it was fun. The second act was really fun. The first act was establishing the characters. It was really slow pace, if you ask me. And then the third act was just way too much going on with a whole bunch of characters that I no longer cared about. But characters, other than the main two and kind of Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane, Aunt May, all these other Spider-Men that came into it, and especially the villains. I don't care if you don't have any motive for your villain or any empathy, or if I really don't even show any real hatred for him. I mean, I have to really feel something for the villain. I felt nothing. Kingpin was just weirdly drawn, just kind of thrown in there, and he just kind of had a script to read to explain why we're supposed to not like him, because he's trying to get his family back and he's causing all the damage in the process. Okay, Spider-Man's going to stop Kingpin to accomplish the mission and get everyone home. That's just not enough. I need to feel something when I'm watching a movie. I felt a lot when I watched the Lego movie. I felt a lot when I watched the Lego Batman movie. I feel a lot when I watch different animations even. But this movie I didn't really feel very much other than a couple of moments with Miles and Parker. Whatever. Characters 1.5. It just needed to be tightened up a little bit and brought the other Spider-Man earlier in the story. The story and the plot, I'm going to give it a 1, mostly for that. I think the pacing was kind of, I don't know, the pacing was kind of rough. The story wasn't really founded to me. It felt like they had this intriguing concept, which isn't the first time this story's been done, but it was kind of forced. It was not, it wasn't really set up, it wasn't explained, and it's kind of like if you take a time travel story that you can go back and you can, if you break it down, you can nitpick it and you can talk about all the plot holes and the issues that you would have with that time travel story, how things would change. Same thing here. It was kind of weak. It was kind of like the second Ninja Turtles movie when they were building the Technodrome up in the sky, and like the city should have been like destroyed by the end of all that stuff that was going on. This kind of had a similar ending where there's all this crazy stuff going on that should have like destroyed a lot of things, but they just neatly wrapped it all up and it was just all magical. Just everything went back the way it was supposed to be. I didn't buy that. My suspension of disbelief didn't cover that. So anyway, nitpicking maybe, but I just didn't feel it was a great story, great plot, and it would have been nice to see more of these characters on their end and their universes before they were pulled in together to be here in this universe. Could have taken a little bit more of that first act to set them up as well. I don't know. Special effects. I think the special effects were really well done. I had a problem watching this movie. I'm not going to give it a 2. I give it a 1.5. The special effects were cool, but they tried to do this texture on the screen that all the characters have these little this pattern on them in different angles of their skin to make it look like you were looking at different shades and things in a comic book. The way they were doing transitions, the way they would do swipes would be like a comic book page flipping, or they'd have little pop-up bubbles and thought bubbles and action words come up and little things that would happen just like you were reading a comic book that was animated at the same time. It was really cool, but I didn't feel like it was consistent. I didn't feel like when you were watching those little fun moments, you kept your eyes busy watching for those fun little cartoony, those little comic book or aspects of the animation. It would do that for a few minutes, and then like 20 minutes would go by with none of it, and then it was just regular animation, and then bam, they'd start doing it again. I don't know how to describe it. I just felt like if it was going to be that poppy little comic book moments, they should have done it kind of more steadily and consistently all the way through it, or just did a regular animation all the way through. It felt like they kept forgetting that they were doing that, and so they had to keep reminding us later, and they just do little things. I liked it. The animation wasn't great. I think the animation was awesome. Excuse me. What I'm saying is the texture didn't work. It looked like they were different shades or different colors on the screen at the same time were just kind of not, it was like they were trying to make it so it looked like different pieces of paper to form this image of different colors. I feel like when I saw the Captain Underpants movie last year, I think it was last year, that movie did it really well. They did the same thing in the origin. When you're watching the animation sequence of Captain Underpants, you could see the texture, and you could see it was drawn on lined paper and the crayon, the color pencils, whatever that were filling in the color. They did that, and it all looked real and it looked effective in animation. This one, it just kind of looked weird. I don't know if maybe it was just the taste and the choice that they did on how they did that effect. I don't know. Maybe someone would be able to say like this does look like when you look really closely at a comic book, the texture it has. But to me, I don't know. It looked weird. I didn't like it. Special effects, really cool effects, but 1.5 just because it wasn't clean in some ways. I don't know how to describe it besides that. Some things were out of focus. Sometimes you'd have like looking over the shoulder of one character, or an object in the foreground of the shot, and it was all blurry and weird, and then you have something in focus behind it. And I know that's a normal thing in a shot, but it was distracting because it was so blurred and out of focus. It looked like I was watching a 3D movie without the glasses. It was really weird. I actually got out in the early part of the movie to talk to a manager, just tell them to check on it. And they went and looked and cleaned up a little bit. but it just still felt really weird. So I don't think it was a flawless animation style, but 1.5. Cinematography, I gave it a 2. I think the cinematography was really clever. They did do some different nods to different styles of Spider-Man I've seen in the past, and especially the old cartoon where it showed like Spider-Man like crawling towards the TV. They used to do that all the time in different versions over the years. And there was a few shots like that where he was like, the camera was watching him upside down or whatever. There's a whole sequence where they're having a conversation, they're walking up and down walls and tossing things, and Miles is trying to like figure out his powers and things, and so he's not really good at the wall clinging part yet, and just trying to figure that stuff out. And the camera just kept moving different angles. Sometimes they'd be right side up on a sideways wall, or it would just show the sideways wall and they're like walking down, you know, just different styles. And you see that in Spider-Man movies and action sequences, and it's really cool. So they stopped to do that a little bit. But again, the final sequence, the action sequence at the end, it was way too busy. There wasn't enough of that kind of fun stuff that they could have done. I gave it a 2 for cinematography because they did some cool things with it. Especially the action sequence. There's a fight sequence in the middle of the movie where they're trying to steal something from a building. That's all I'm gonna say. And there's a fight that happens. That sequence is really well done, really cool when you're going in and out of the room that they're in. It's just really neat. Some really good shots with the bad guy. There's a moment where the bad guy is walking through a room and Miles is hiding from him. That goes into the music, this amazing music that happens right then that reminded me of the pulsing, really low music when the bad guy shows up in Big Hero 6. Very similar to that. I liked it a lot. More with the music. That's the last category. The music and sound. The music was really cool. Again, kind of like my review of Creed. It's not my style. It's not the kind of thing I would listen to, you know, casually in the car, the songs that were in the soundtrack. But they were really fitting, and so I think they should get props for that. They had good songs. One song I loved, I wrote it down, is Scared of the Dark. And there's a scene where Miles is trying to figure things out, and he's trying to deal with some kind of difficult things that are going on, a little bit of tragedy that's happened to the city, and he's trying to cope with the pressure and the stress of maybe getting his powers and things going with his family and figuring stuff out, you know, before the story really picks up. But it plays that song, Scared of the Dark. I encourage you to check it out. But I liked it. It really fit right there, and it was a really cool song, really good little sequence, a little mini montage kind of a thing happened there. I like that. Some of the songs were you know, some were better than others, but they all fit for this movie. What was going on with these characters? It was cool. The score, though, the score didn't have any really powerful, effective music that I didn't feel. There were no themes throughout the movie. There was no score or part that would be like, oh, this is the theme of the movie. Now, you don't always have to have a theme or a theme song for your movies, but like, this is Spider-Man, you know, and there is some good music that goes throughout the movie, but it keeps, you know, keeps up with the energy of the movie. But I just felt it needed something to kind of make it memorable or give itself an identity. There's just something missing, so I gave it a 1.5. It was good though. So anyway, so I guess that's a 1 for the story, 1.5 for characters, 1.5 for special effects, 2 for cinematography, 1.5 for music and sound. So that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. That feels right. About 7.5. Do I recommend seeing it in the theater? I would say if you're a Spider-Man fan, absolutely you gotta see this in the theater. If you're an anime fan, absolutely you should see this in the theater. But if you're just a casual moviegoer, I don't think you're going to really appreciate a lot of the things that were done. I don't think that's not like a condescending comment at all. I'm just saying that you're not going to really care about a lot of the stuff that was done to cater to the fans of Spider-Man. And for animation, it's good, but it's not like the most incredible thing I've ever seen, but it's well done. Well executed. So if you like anime, yeah. If you just want to go to a movie and see some fun and quirky things from a good story with characters, there's probably better things coming out right now that you can go see. So I'm going to say if you're a comic book fan, an animated fan, then yes, this is a celestial film. Gotta see it in the theater so you can get the spectacle and the enjoyment of what it is. If you just like movies, you could probably wait till it's on DVD. I would say DVD, because you know our rating system or judgment, the final judgment. A celestial film is one you got to see in the theater. Terrestrial is one that you can get on DVD when it comes out. Don't have to see it in the theater. Telestial means wait till it's on a streaming service or something, or you go to a friend's house and watch it just whenever you come across it. Go ahead and check it out. This is definitely not that. It's worth seeing. I would say, again, regular moviegoer, see in the or get on DVD when it comes out, Redbox, whatever. Or if you're a fan, love anime or love Spider-Man, love superheroes in general, definitely see it. It's a celestial film in that case. But anyway, I'm not going to do a big spoiler review of this one. I might do some other features because there's a lot I don't understand about the Spider-Man character, and there's even more I don't understand about the many versions of this movie, or the characters in this movie. So I'm probably going to be back talking about this some more, but that's it for the spoiler-free review, and there won't be a spoiler review. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you thought of it as well. And we will catch you next time. Not we, I'm by myself, unless you consider my action figures, but I, Tim, will see you next time on Saints on Cinema. Thanks a lot, guys.